So good morning. Welcome back to Sugar House. The leaves are changing, the air is cool, and 21st South has never, ever been better. And before I say anything else, I want to say a big thank you, a heartfelt thank you to the business owners of Sugar House. Raise your hand if you are part of a business or you're a business owner here in Sugar House. I know this has been hard. This has been a hard pursuit. But I hope that seeing the cars smoothly flow through, some bikes that I didn't plan flow through, cue the doves. But buses that are able to pull over and not interrupt traffic so much, pedestrians feeling safe. I hope you're feeling that it's worth it. I do. And when we looked at the project that needed to be done, when Lynn and John and their team came into my office and said, we've talked to the community, we held a lot of outreach conversations, we're talking to the business community, and we're holding more business community conversations, and we look at the public utilities underground. This is a massive project. But the voters approved it with the streets bond that we voted into place years before, and we know it needs to be done. There was literally wooden pipes of infrastructure under 21st South that we removed. This is not just an old piece of roadway, but it was an ancient piece of public utility too. And to the public, all they know is that 21st South was inconvenient for about a year and a half, and to the business owners, it was a little more than inconvenient. It was painful. But what we had to accomplish was more than a repave and a restriping, although you've got that too. It was building safer pedestrian infrastructure, better access to transit, better access to our businesses, and the kind of intimate experience that Sugar House has been known for decades. This neighborhood is why I moved to Salt Lake City as a teenager, when Pibbs was right over here and Blue Cat's Coffee was right here. You still have that feel. You get to know the business owners when you buy your cup of coffee or your pint. You get to know who's making your food because they're also your neighbors here. And when you walk together and you share public transit, that's what builds community. And honestly, that's what builds democracy. So thank you to the business owners. I want you to know that there's a nerdy street term called the OCI, the Overall Condition Index, which cities across the country use to determine how healthy or unhealthy is a roadway in terms of the pavement and the infrastructure. There were great sections of 21st South that out of 1 to 100, 100 being very healthy, were rated a 9.5. They were failed streets. This was a long time coming, and it took a village to get it done. We did over a year of engagement and surveys and workshops and public input meetings. We did a year and a half of construction. We have made it. The light at the end of the tunnel is now here for 21st South, and I want to welcome everyone, all Utahns even, to come back to Sugar House if you haven't been here in a little while. James is going to talk a little bit about a particular event that's coming up October 4th that you should especially be drawn to. I skipped all my remarks. I just want you to tell your friends Sugar House is open for business, and the food and beverages are better than ever. You can thrift shop, and you can shoe shop, and you can get records, and you can meet people that care about community like you do. And in hard times in this country, like we're in right now, getting coffee next to somebody that you didn't know before is one of the best things we can do. Sugar House is where we build community. Thank you for getting through this with us. Before I cry, I'm going to hand it over to Councilmember Sarah Young, and you'll hear from James and then Emily afterward. Thank you. Team of Sugar House, we made it! I have
to say thank you so much to everyone, both who's here and out in the community, for sticking with the city in terms of making this much needed investment for our future. Many of you know I come from K-12 education, so it's a regular conversation that we have with our kids in the classroom. Put in the work today, and it benefits you in your future. And that could not better capture what happened here on 2100 South. The city invested, and not just in improving the roads, but also in improving the infrastructure, making sure that we have water, sewer, and stormwater that's not just going to meet the community needs we have today, but the ones that we expect to see in the future. And so when you see more people excited about Sugar House, team, we've got room. We're here, and our businesses are excited to have you back. It wasn't too long ago that I heard from a lot of residents across not just Salt Lake City, but Salt Lake Valley, saying, hey, I've seen some things on social media that your businesses are struggling. And it's true, they were. And I'm really proud of everything that we saw from Salt Lake City economic development in not just standing up solutions, but partnering with the experts from our small businesses to be able to create things that encourage people to come back down to Sugar House. And now we're there. It's your opportunity to come down, and if you want to make a difference in your community, shop local. And there's no better place to do it than here in Sugar House. I had the absolute pleasure just last week to be meeting a colleague down at Sugar House Coffee. And when we walked in, it was after work and, expecting to be able to pop in and get a table. And the colleague was like, there's nowhere to sit. And I was like, I know, isn't it great? So come on down, be part of that community. We're so grateful. I have to end with a huge thanks to not just the mayor, but her entire team from all the various departments who are here who made this possible. These individuals have been going day and night to be able to bring this project across the finish line. And I am so fortunate to be an advocate for those staff, for the great work that's happening in the city, and for the neighbors and residents. We've made it, we're done. I'm so excited, and excited to turn it over, I believe, to James, who's gonna come up here and tell you about how we're gonna celebrate.
I don't know how you follow that. A lot of enthusiasm, sir. So thanks for coming today, and thanks, Mayor and Sarah. We opened our business here in March of this year, but obviously familiar with the neighborhood. And when we opened, we started talking about the street project and when it was going to be over and how it was going to impact us and everything else. We largely didn't live through the worst of it, so I'll let Emily talk about that. But I do want to touch on one thing before I talk about Sugarfest, and that is that nobody saw, because it was all behind the scenes, the efforts that Sarah and the mayor and her staff and Sarah's staff made to make sure this was as seamless as possible. And they mentioned the infrastructure. And it's important to note that there was a plan in place to resurface the entire road and then dig it up again and do the infrastructure afterwards, which would have kept the road closed for another 1.5 or 2 years. And the mayor and her staff and Councilwoman Young figured out a solution to get around that and did the infrastructure at the same time as the surface structure. And in doing that, they saved the community and all the businesses in Sugar House another 1.5 of what would have been downtime. And that's due to kind of everything that's happening in the neighborhood. Anyway, it's a great neighborhood. Everything's open. We started about 3 months ago, meeting with all the local bars and restaurants and retailers to talk about how do we reopen Sugar House once the streets are all open. And we decided that we wanted to pick a date that didn't have anything else on it, meaning a University of Utah, BYU game, yada, yada, yada. And we wanted to do something that was not in line with Living Traditions or the Arts Festival. So anyway, we picked the 4th of October. We're going to celebrate in Sugar House. Every bar and restaurant, a lot of retailers that are owned locally will be participating. And starting today, at any given restaurant, you can pick up one of these stamp cards. And if you go to any participating restaurant, they'll stamp it for you. At the end of it, on the 25th of October, we're going to collect all these and draw winners. And we've got some great prizes. They'll be on the website. And then on the 4th of October, with Sugarfest, every bar and restaurant will have live music. We'll have a list of acts scheduled, and you can come down and hop from place to place and listen to music, buy food, have a drink of your choice, and have fun. And with that, I'll turn it over to Emily. And if you haven't tried her coffee, you definitely should.
Thank you. I'm Emily Potts. I own Sugar House Coffee. I remember my first construction meeting about 4 years ago when they laid out those blueprints, and I just sat there, wide eyes, going, how the heck are we ever going to survive this? This is terrifying. I had no idea how terrifying it was really going to be. I had no idea there would be days when we'd have hours without customers coming in. Our driveways would be blocked off. It was so much harder than I ever imagined. But to look at it now and to see how beautiful it is and how much safer it is. You see people biking around. The infrastructure needed to be fixed, and it got fixed, and it's beautiful. But these past 4 years, it's been sad and hard to see so many of my friends have to close their doors permanently after being here for so many years. But those of us that are still open could use your support, and I just want to say how grateful I am to the city, to Leah, to Lynn, to Bill, to everyone that got those 5 a.m. texts of me terrified of which entry was closed, to Sarah Young for showing up. She talks the talk and walks the walk. She showed up at the small businesses every day. She doesn't just say that she is, she actually shows up and supports us small businesses, and I'm forever grateful for you. But I'm grateful for Stacy Whitbeck for saving the day on many occasions when 1100 East was struggling. This construction was hard, but it was needed, and it's safe, and it's beautiful, and I'm so grateful. So please come support all these small businesses. Look at how beautiful it is, and thank you. We'll see you October 4th.
In skipping my notes, I failed to thank the most pivotal people here. John, Lynn, Leah, for sure. And I want to thank our friends at Stacy Whitbeck. John and Lynn and the transportation crew have been in a lot of projects. When our voters overwhelmingly approved the bond to rebuild our most impacted, worst quality streets, we put a lot of money out there into the private sector to build these roadways. And I can tell you that our team says they have never worked with a better contractor than Stacy Whitbeck. And Stacy Whitbeck even came in and saved the day on some sections of projects that weren't theirs, as Emily alluded to, because the other contractors couldn't do the quality of the job that they can. So if you're with Stacy Whitbeck, will you please raise your hand right now? Thank you. We want to keep working with you. I'm not offering you a contract right now. That's not what this is about. But the people of Salt Lake City and the taxpayers of Salt Lake City and the businesses of Sugar House appreciate the dedication. I remember sitting on a dusty Saturday, hot afternoon in August and July, actually, on one of these patios a couple times, watching very few pedestrians, very few people in the businesses, but your workers out here on the weekend sweating and getting the work done. So thank you, Stacy Whitbeck. We can't build this infrastructure and these changes without you. If that isn't a promotional video, I don't know what is. Any questions? We got time for a couple questions, and then do we have sugar beets in hand? Oh, there you go. Okay, any questions from the media?
Madam Mayor, the street design's a hybrid between two earlier proposals. Now that it's built, are you confident that was the right choice?
Yes. Yes. And as Emily said, in the terror she felt 4 years ago, and actually even then not knowing how terrifying the process would be, I have a similar recollection of seeing the blueprints from our team in my conference room and trying to muster the courage to say yes to a design that we knew would take time, a lot of time, but that would take less time ultimately if we got it all done at once, as James said, than if we did a smaller bite out of fear. We took the big bite, and I think that the hybrid option that you're asking about allows for the capacity that James talked about. We added a lot of capacity in the underground infrastructure for the development that is capable in Sugar House because of the zoning we put in place when the S-line came in. We can still grow more. As Sarah said, we can fit more in Sugar House, and the hybrid design allowed for that forward-thinking growth to have space in this new design.
What would you say is the biggest benefit?
Then I'll come to you. That the businesses of Sugar House are still mostly local. And I'll echo Emily's sadness that we saw businesses close their doors, and probably for some reasons very much directed by the impacts of this major reconstruction. I can't say for every business, but Sugar House is unique in the entire state because it's local businesses. And we want to keep it that way. We welcome all these businesses that are opening their doors and making it vibrant, but the heart is about this is a community that supports each other. And the fact that we got through this project with so many local 15 bars and restaurants and retailers still with doors open is a major win of preserving who we are here. Yes?
We're already hearing concerns about the medians in place and how it's tough to get around here. What would you say, I guess, why did you
Yeah.
not you decide, but why did medians get put in and what
Yeah, we decided to put the medians in place because the neighborhood asked for a more beautiful, safe, and easier to flow environment to get around. And the traffic medians, when we hear complaints about those, are largely because people don't feel like they can drive as fast down that street. And yes, that's part of the purpose of this, that we have a safer environment in the heart of Sugar House for everyone to get around. Kids who are going to Youth City right here in Fairmont Park, who use the McClellan Trail to get back to neighborhoods north of the park, families that use the park here at Fairmont. We have a million uses of this neighborhood every single day, and they aren't all for high-speed cars. And so I think we're achieving our purpose here while still making it flow. Yes?
So what would you say to those business owners who maybe lost their income or business? Did you have conversations with them? Did they how did it look like when they tell you about construction and ultimately the result for that? We were not that fortunate.
Yeah, our economic development team in my office have had countless conversations with business owners, those who are still open and those who have closed their doors. And I can't speak for all of those businesses at once, but we definitely had all these conversations. Economic development also has a lot of small business loan and financing tools that we've offered along the way. So I would say to them, if you want to come back, Sugar House is done and more beautiful than ever, and we have tools to help you open a business here, whether you've been here before or you're brand new to the neighborhood. One more question, I think I saw a hand.
I'm curious, I mean, obviously now that's being done, there's obviously a huge downtown project in the future. Do you feel like the city will use some of the lessons from this towards some of the business concerns that may exist?
Yeah. Yeah, Carter asked if we've learned lessons from this that could apply to downtown construction projects and roadway projects, essentially. Heck yes. We are learning in real time. And we're changing our contracting approach as we learn these lessons. And we're learning which contractors are going to deliver 2 months early, even when we expand the project by over $11 million of infrastructure change. And we learn who's not going to deliver. So we're changing the way we approach this from the RFP to the contracting to having actual big project experience with providers in the private sector. And I think that whatever lessons we've learned, good, bad, and ugly, in Sugar House are going to benefit every other part of the city as we go through these major development projects. Thank you for being out here today. Maybe you want some sunshine and some caffeine and pastries. Emily's ready to provide that, and Public at Sugar House Station is also ready. But first, you should pick a sugar beet and follow it around to check out the changes. Thank you for being here today.